If you want to become faster, more efficient, and more organized in Adobe Illustrator, follow along today and let's optimize Illustrator for graphic design. The first method is going to help you when working with the same design elements throughout an entire design. You might want to make adjustments to all of these assets at one time, and to achieve this effect, select the object and then start the global edit. So now when you resize, rotate, or just mess around with the design asset, the same process is going to be applied throughout your entire design. A part of having a better workflow in Illustrator simply means saving time, and this is really crucial as a graphic designer. This method is also really helpful for illustrators who have leaves or, similar design assets throughout the entire design. One of the most important golden nuggets of information in today's video is based around the Properties panel. This thing is so useful that I personally have it open most of the time when I'm working in Illustrator, and here's why. When I have a shape or an object selected, the panel options actually change. So I can now transform this object with the scale, rotation, and so forth. But if I then grab the artboard tool, I have yet more options open to me, and these allow me to change the name of my artboard among other things. And I also have access to the artboard options too. Then also the Properties panel changes again when I have text selected. So as you can see, I have access to so many options, functions, and tools all built into Illustrator within this single Properties panel. That's pretty neat. And we all know how helpful keyboard shortcuts can be, but if you actually come into this window here, you will realize how many tools don't have a shortcut allocated to them. We can add our own shortcuts, and one tool I personally like to have a shortcut on is the Group Selection tool. I use this one a whole lot in my workflow, and so I have the shortcut allocated to it that doesn't involve holding down the Alt Option key. Another part of saving time in Illustrator is when selecting multiple objects at one time. I've made many videos on several different ways to do this, but one method I keep coming back to again and again is the good old select drop-down menu. As an example, I can select all the colors of a certain highlight on my design, and then I can change the hue to be a little lighter accordingly. There are many options in the select menu, and it's a quick way to save time and to remain organized in Adobe Illustrator. But which is your favorite way to select things when working on a design? Let me know down below. Another essential part of being organized in Illustrator is to utilize the Layers panel. Yes, you've heard me say this before, but this is exactly how I use it. The layers that make up this painting on the wall are all separate at the moment. While making the design, I would personally make a group of these layers in the Layers panel, so things are just more organized. I can hold down Shift and select the layers now, and then press Command or Control G so they're grouped together in one neat, uniform group. Adding a label to that group in the Layers panel is going to finish the organization. So now I can access this part of my design really easily and then make the changes that I need to do. Again, I would suggest doing this as you build up your design, and not to do it at the very end like I'm doing here for you guys. Now, if you want to be fully organized in Illustrator on your own terms, it's a good idea to make a workspace preset. You can find built-in ones right here which are really useful, but let's get personal. I'm going to set up my own workspace for logo designing. And so the first thing I want to do is to remove the panels that I most likely won't be using for a process on a logo creation. I want to have only the essentials on the screen. I also want to have the Properties panel over to the left, with the pathfinder below it. That's because I'm going to use them the most throughout my entire logo design project. Now to free up even more space, I'm going to remove the top control panel, which is just a personal choice of course. I also will neaten up this side panel selection here on the right. And finally make the toolbar a little bit more thin so I have more real estate on screen. Now it's just a case of saving that preset with the correct label. And before we close out today's video, I'm going to announce the winner of the graphic design logo competition that I set up last week. There were a whole lot of entries and it was really interesting to see everybody's approach on the brief that I delivered to you guys. There were some that were really presented really well with like a PDF breakdown of the fonts used, the color scheme and so forth. But what I was looking for was a really bold, simple logo design that utilized a sans serif font and related back to the brief. And so today's winner is Malka, and the design is on screen right now. You can see the rest of their work on their Instagram portfolio, which is linked down in the description box of today's video. I'm gonna set up another competition on Wednesday, so do stay tuned for that, and until next time guys, designing future today. Peace.